Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So I'm going to show you a couple examples and walk you through a couple ways to solve using some different methods. So on the top of my paper, I've labeled the title for today, Multiply Polynomials. And let's just do a little bit of review real quick. Let's say we had, we'll call this problem 1. We had 2x times, and in parentheses, I'm going to have 7x cubed plus 5. So this is actually a multiplying polynomials problem, but we've done ones like this before. This 2 is going to be distributed. Actually, this whole thing, this 2x, is going to be distributed to both terms in here. And to do that, we need to rely on some of those exponent laws that we've learned about last unit. So when I multiply these, what I get is I get 2 times x times 7 times x cubed. That's this one. And over here, it's going to be plus 2 times x times 5. And so now I can simplify these. Over here, I get 14, and this is going to be x to the power of 4, or with an exponent of 4. Bring down my plus, and then 2 times 5 is 10, and there's my x. Since these are being added together, I can't add them together. They're different terms. These are x to the power of 4s, and these are just x's. So they're not the same type. Therefore, that is the answer to my problem. Okay? Multiplying polynomials gets a little bit more difficult, though. Let's take a look at example 2. And for this one, I'll show you, I think, the best method for solving. Let's say we had, in parentheses, x minus 3 times, in other parentheses, 4x minus 5. So what I want to do is I want to multiply all of this by all of that. Now, I can't just do the distributing method that I had before because I don't have one term out here. I don't have a monomial. I have 2 terms. I have a binomial. So I need a different method. And the most common method is what's called the area model, or it can also be called a table. You might recognize this from when you first learned multiplication way back when. So I'm going to draw a table, and I'm going to give it 4 quadrants. And I'm going to split my polynomials along the outside. So it doesn't matter which one you put where first. I'm just going to put this first one up at the top, and I'm going to split it like this. I'm going to put my x here, and then I'm going to put minus 3 over here. Notice the minus stays with the 3. And then I'm going to write this other one down the side, 4x, and the minus stays with the 5. Now, what's going on inside the square here is a multiplication. I can find out the area of each of these inside pieces by doing some multiplying. So maybe I'll start down here first. If I was going to find the area of this, I would multiply negative 5 times negative 3, and I get 15. And then maybe I go here next. I have negative 3 times 4x, which would give me negative 12x. And then down here, this is negative 5x. And now here we have to be careful with our exponents. We get 4x times x. This is 4 times x, which would be 4x squared. Now, to finish this problem, I need to combine all these pieces inside together. I need to combine all these areas. So I get 4x squared. It would be plus negative 12x plus negative 5x plus 15. I'm just adding together all the insides. I noticed the only thing I can put together are these because they're like terms. So my final answer is 4x squared minus 17x plus 15. That is my answer. And I can't go any further because each of these is a different kind of term. They're not like terms. This is interesting. Look, from here, we were able to create this. This is what happens when you multiply a binomial by a binomial, is you end up with something like this. So this is a table method. It works every time. It's really good. If I were you, I would use it. Maybe you don't like that method. Let me show you another way, though. And on your homework, you can use either method. We'll call this number 3. So over here, let's say we had parentheses 2x plus 4. And then in this, let's make it parentheses 3x plus 7. Oh, one thing to point out, over here I had subtraction, and like the minus 3, the subtraction just stayed with the 3. If this was addition, the addition would just stay with the 3 as well. Like over here, if I did this in a table, the plus would stay with the 4, and the plus would stay with the 7. Right? It always stays with the number that comes next. However, I'm showing you a different method. So I can use something similar to what you've seen before when you stack a multiplication problem. So it could look like this. I could go 2x plus 4 times 3x plus 7. Now, this might look familiar. It's the same as what you've seen before, but there's something very different here, and it happens right away. I'm going to go through and multiply everything here and then everything here. I'm just going to take the 7 and I'll multiply both of these places. Now, in the past, you would be multiplying the 1's place and then the 10's place, but that's not happening here. That doesn't happen with polynomials. Instead, I'm multiplying terms. I'm multiplying pieces. So I'm not going to be spreading out or carrying anything like carrying a 10's or anything. So there's no 10's, they carry. So when I go 7 times 4, I get a 28. In the past, I'd carry the 2 and I'd write down the 8, but that's not is what's going on here. This is not a 10's place out here. So instead, I'm just going to write the result right here. 7 times 4 is 28. Then I have to go over here. 7 times 2x. Oh, and this was a positive 28, so I'm going to keep the plus there. 7 times 2x would be 14x. And now I'm done with the 7, so I'm going to move to the 3x. Now, in the past, you'd put a placeholder here, but again, that's because the 10's and 1's and all those placeholders, you don't have places with this, you have terms. So you don't need to put a placeholder. Instead, we want to line up like terms. So I'm going to take the 3x, and I'm going to multiply it by the 4, and I get 12x. And so I have to think in my head, where do I want to put that? I want to put that right below its like term right here. And it was a positive 12x. Now the last thing to do is multiply both of these. So I get 3 times 2, which is 6, and x times x, which is x squared. So I get 6x squared. And now I add these all together. I get 6x squared plus 26x plus 28. So that's another method for solving. I prefer the table. Maybe you like this. It doesn't matter. You can use either method, but make sure you know how the table method works, because you'll see me using it a lot. All right, good luck with this. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.